Greetings, fellow engineers. Rodamont here. Thank you for tuning in to Stationeers Brutal Vulcan, episode 73, Ripping Out Obsolete Systems. We want to launch Barton, the exploration rocket, to chart and explore around Vulcan. And then we also want to land Dave, the ice miner. And my plan is to build a second landing pad because Dave won't need to immediately relaunch because we'll have oxygen ice and water ice, and those are the two things that we kind of want. Meaning, like, there isn't an immediate need to send Dave up for a third mission. Dave can idle on the landing pad for a while. So that's my plan. There was a few other things I wanted to do first. One is I got a little hot tip, and I haven't actually tried it, which is to put my light in my uniform. And that way I might be able to graduate away from the hard suit basic to the hard suit advanced. So let's try that. Because when it was in my hard suit backpack, it was casting some hard shadows to the point where, like, it was low-key not usable. And I would love the extra storage space because I'm sure I'll use it. So yeah, the hard shadows are not a problem with the with it in my uniform. That's cool, because this is what was happening before, right? It was catching parts of the hard suit and casting shadows on that, and that would have just been intolerable. So putting in the uniform is a good solution. Perfect. All right. So taking a look at what's going on, we have 1.3 kilomoles of oxygen, which is not really enough to launch our exploration rocket, which is over there. So the plan is to build a landing pad and process the ice, the oxygen ice, so that we can fuel up the exploration rocket sooner, because I think that makes sense. So let's go ahead and start building another landing pad. And oh yeah, and the tool belt should work too. Granted, in my case, because I so infrequently use my suit's storage, it makes probably the most sense to keep it in the suit storage, because I fill my tool belt pretty regularly. All right. There were some other little changes I wanted to make before we really get going as well, but let's at least try to get the landing pad going, so that we can bring down that lovely payload of oxygen. So in order to build a landing pad, we'll need at least 4 frames, but I think I'll do 8. So that it isn't just like a plus sign. And then we need the launch mount, and that's about it to attempt a landing. In fact, I would argue that if you are unsure whether you can actually land or not, including anything else is kind of a waste, because it may just get destroyed. Oh, you know what? I just realized I had steel sheets, frames there. So okay, here's the 8 that we want. Perfect. And the reason is, like, if you end up crashing and all you have is like a landing pad, oh wow, you lost a landing pad that's like barely any steel. Whereas if you have like your umbilicals and your launch towers and all that, that's a lot more loss. Especially if the crash takes out like fuel and silos and etc. And then we want the launch mount. And this takes a while to print, so I'm just going to install the frames for the new landing pad before then. Whoa! Oh, right. The hardsuit jetpack is now... Okay, let's lower the thrust, because, holy hell. Actually, the thrust wasn't even set that high. It just sent me flying. I'm not really sure why. So, the thinking that I have is that I would set up, a mirrored landing pad somewhere over here, but we're gonna have to flatten out the terrain a bit, I think. And, yeah, that's fine. So let's grab the mining tool. It has 100% battery. We're going to set to flatten. And the plan is just to make a spot for another landing area over here so that it's on the same elevation level and can use kind of the same platform. The idea is I don't want to stray too far from this fuel line because this is the fuel line that we use. And what I could do is I can have this fork out to another turbo pump to fuel up a different rocket. So a little terrain modification is in order, but not much. I don't need to collect earth. My ore earth is like 62 out of 64. It's basically already full. The dirt cans, like, fill up way quick. I'm actually relatively surprised there isn't, like, a larger dirt canister that can store more than 64, because 64 is not, like, a lot on the scale of, like, trying to modify large-scale terrain. But it is what it is. And we do have some voids that we'll probably want to fill up. Actually, that's not a hole. But yeah, given that I have a tendency to, like, fall into lava as a pastime and hobby, I really ought to make sure that this is... I'm not going to say foolproof, because, like, I'm just going to become more foolish if I say that, but, like, less error-prone. And Turtle, thank you for the cheer. And welcome. Oh my god. Alright, I do need to turn down the jetpack, because this thing is... like, violent levels of thrust. Okay, so if we assume that, and I should have probably had more frames, if we assume that we'll put the launch umbilicals here, mirroring the other one, and we'll have like a silo here or something. We have launch umbilicals, 1, 2, 3, and then pad, which is the like 3x3. So 1, 2, 3, pad. And I'll do the terrain fills here in a second. And I'll probably want like a few more frames just to run them out in the same way that I did for the other launch. Basically, I'm not going for a perfect mirror of the infrastructure we've already built, but like something similar. Similar enough that I'm not reinventing the wheel or anything. And Destroyer, thank you for the resub too. Happy Rocketry Friday. Alright, so the idea is to put the launch in there. I might want to lower the terrain even more. Because... well, actually... no, I mean, maybe what I'll do is I'll just dig. It just feels weird that, like... there's nowhere for the exhaust to go. But, like, that's not a game mechanic. That's just, like, a role-playing thing. Oh my god, my jetpack at, like, 20 thrust is still, like, just flinging me like I'm being hulked as Loki or something. I don't know. The other thing I kind of wish this terrain tool could do is like a larger, like a 3x3 rather than a 1x1. You know, it doesn't have any other modes. Oh, my waste tank's nearly full. I'll have to go inside in a minute. But whatever, it works. Did everyone see the news about future updates? That they're going to introduce terraforming mechanics into Stationeers and launching us into orbit and building like space stations in orbit from resources that presumably we sent from the ground. This was in one of the latest news dispatches, but like, holy hell, what an end game. I think probably most players can't even get to this point. So to have an end game like that is just like icing on the cake. Alright, waste taken, caution, solved. Oxygen, solved. Batteries, let's swap them out. I'm gonna have to remember that my portable light is now in my uniform. I'm not used to that yet. Farm looks fine, plenty of water. Here's our launch mount. So launch mount itself requires 8 sheets to make. I've got 11, which is exactly how many we need if I'm also gonna have 3 more frames for the, like, lead up to the launch. Oh, but I need to recoup some materials. Stationeers living up to its name? I mean, we'll see. I don't count my hens and, you know, my chickens until they hatch or whatever. Meaning, like, that's their promise, but whether it's any good, you know, who knows. I'm not a stan of anything. I'm a critic. Healthy levels of skepticism. Gamers as old as I am, I'm sure have been burned countless times with unfulfilled promises and unsatisfying updates and all that jazz. Meaning, you know, whenever anyone's like, "Oh, well, here's the big end game," I'm like, "Uh-huh." Now I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, maybe it's just me being cynical, but I think a healthy dose of cynicism is useful. And I'm not trying to throw shade at, like, Rocketworks or anything. If anything, I am super surprised they've supported this game, as I'm sure it's not a moneymaker compared to, like, Icarus. And maybe Kit and Space Program on the horizon and all that. So, I'm pleasantly surprised that this hasn't been abandoned like a lot of other companies may have done in its stead. Alright, so here's the launch mount, which also subsequently is the landing pad. Now, one thing we're gonna have to do is, like, name these things, because, I'm gonna, you know, if we're landing here, we need to make sure that, like, we know which one we're landing on, and I should also, there was another tip on a YouTube comment that said that, I ought to consider naming the downlinks of each rocket. Oh, okay. I was like, what the hell is that noise? Oh, it's just the silo releasing another ice. Because it's easier to figure out which rocket you're connected to if you got your downlinks named. So, with that in mind, where did I install the downlink here? Oh, is it in the cone? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, there it is. Alright. Barton. Logic rocket downlink. And then once, my other, rocket that's in orbit, like, lands, I can do the same thing. Alright, filter low. Oh yeah, I actually will need new filters. One of the issues with, like, covering up all the molten, all the lava is, like, throwing stuff out is a little bit harder as a result, because there's not a lot of places to junk it. Then the other thing I wanted to name is this launch mount. So this will be the water launch mount, and this will be the air launch mount. And then I'll need earth and fire, right? Air launch mount. Basically, the water ice lands there, because that's hooked up to the water ice silo, and the other one will land here. And I should be able to see the differences. Hunger caution. Oh, okay. I should be able to see the difference on the launch controls. Yeah, everything was in harmony until the fire launch attacked. Exactly. just wait until my next rocket's going to be named Zuko, and then we're all screwed. So, let's go over to the rocket controls. And here's Dave Miner. And Dave Miner, I have 2 launch mounts now. So I think what I'm going to do is land Dave Air. Okay, these are like terrible names. But there's a non-zero chance that like Dave doesn't make it down, and whether you guys want me to save scum or not, I can't put to vote if, you know, I don't have a save point. So now Dave is targeting the air launch mount. Now the only issue that I have here is likely the umbilicals will still face the wrong way. So I might need to like, yeah, I don't know how that will work, but we'll see. So I think what I'm going to do is, I'm almost certain I don't have enough fuel for this, so this is a simulation. I know, it's cheesy. But, if I was to land here, I don't have enough fuel for the descent arrest for this landing. I said knowing that I really didn't have enough, so I'm going to load it again, and we're going to do the moderate air arrest landing. Spicy Jazz, thank you for the resub. And cheers to you. But the other thing is the downlink is now connected to the Barton Logic rocket downlink, rather than just like a generic rocket downlink, which is going to help me like control them better. Okay, so we have the save point. It is pointed to the air launch mount. I don't think that there's like a rotational orientation of the launch mount, so I can't like have it. I don't know. I'm actually really not sure about that. But we're gonna do the high arrest burn, and we also could turn off the rocket scanner. So we have 388 seconds of fuel. We do the descent arrest in 330, so we have enough fuel for the descent arrest. Future rockets that we put up will be a lot easier. They'll be a lot easier because we'll have a lot more fuel, so we won't have to be really economical about the amount of fuel that we use for descent arrests. And although I have hunger caution, let's watch this landing. But I'm gonna quickly eat some fries before I go out there and stare at the landing. And then like day-old fries kept in a refrigerator. Yum. Satiating. My waste tank's not too full, but I'll swap it. And my O2 filters are like not great, but they're enough to watch a landing. I'll just have to remember to create another CO2 filter before I suffocate. No big deal. Alright, I see the blue light center screen. So it's still coming down. You know, actually, the descent arrest was 300 seconds, so I do have a bit of time. Let's go get those CO2 filters, and then talk about what we'll do once Barton comes down. So I'm going to need to hook up build a separate silo, and then set up the separate... No. Whoa, I did not... that's supposed to be locked. I accidentally opened up the visor of my helmet, which would have been fatal had I been, like, outside. So, very happy I was not outside. Alright, so talking about what happens when when Barton comes down, we'll need to hook up, honestly, only the cargo, the umbilical for cargo to it. Because if we're not immediately relaunching it, it doesn't really much matter as long as it has internal power to open up its whatever, its lever to release stuff. Then we're gonna need another silo, probably, which is smarter than just like keeping the ice in a chute. And then the other thing I wanted to do is, whoa, Jesus, this jetpack is ridiculous. The other thing I wanted to do is, none of this here is necessary anymore. So what I want to do is I want to expand the base and remove all of this. This is the H2 combustor and the infrastructure required for H2 combustion. And like, I don't need to be blowing up oxygen and volatiles to make water anymore, because I have space water. And I have a lot of space water. I mean, I have like 400 liters of space water. I've only ever made like 40 liters or less with H2 combustion. So all of this infrastructure can go bye-bye, including some of the junk inside. And that's going to open up a lot of space in the base if I like annex it and expand the base out to include these like 8 tiles. So that's one of the things I want to do in order to accommodate another ice crusher, because at the moment there's really nowhere to put an ice crusher for Barton's payload. Oh, and here comes the sun, or Janus, if you will. I want to check in with rocket control. The other thing that I think would be nice would be to add some additional controls to have like a cloned panel for outside, because I like being able to like check in on the rockets inside. But I want it in both spots. So we're doing the descent arrest in 1 minute. Got it. Or a minute left, so it's landing in 1 minute. Yeah, turning the water production area into a water production area, exactly. But like all this stuff here, can be repurposed. The only thing that I need to accommodate is the nitrogen filter needs to vent out somewhere else, probably to the roof. Rocket, slow down, I'm coming. I mean, I want you to slow down regardless or else you crash, but I want to watch. Airlock. Let me out. No, stop grappling the frickin'... Oh yeah. 2 for 2. You may be wrong, but the rocket fuels tank is unshielded. Yep. And yeah, the umbilical's over here. I suppose that's fine. I could... The only umbilical that I care about right now is the cargo umbilical. So the others don't much matter to me. And that's here, but it could be probably just as easily moved. Yeah, it could be rotated. All right. In fact, building rockets that can go both north or south orientation with dual umbilicals might make sense. So you know what I want to do? I'm going to build, rather than remove the old umbilical, I'm just going to add a new one. So the current priority right now is to build a launch tower to unload the O2 ice. Is the remaining fuel heating up right now? Let me check. Yeah? And it will combust. Well, yeah, it is. It is. Now, if I delete this, does it fart out? I don't know if closing the doors helps. Because that's like another issue, obviously, is, the uninsulated rockets will heat up on the pad. Yeah, I'm thinking about that. I mean, I could vacuum it out and just, like, pull out the excess fuel. Oh god, it's a solar storm right now too? Good lord, what a bad time. Good timing. Or, oh, what a bad a bad day to be an eyeball right now, or have eyeballs. I can't really tell here. What would it be in the, gas tank? Yeah, the temperature is rising, and fast. I'm gonna try something risky. I'm just gonna, like, uninstall it. Sometimes when you uninstall things... Oh, god. Damn. Sometimes when you uninstall things, the volume goes poof, and then sometimes not. The problem is because I landed this on the other side. Yeah, so I guess it's fine. There's a little bit of latent explosion, and there might be some damage in the rocket. Oh, and the tanks I'm holding are, like, on fire. Which is weird. I guess I got too close? But it's fine. I mean, it seems like most of the rocket's intact. Working in this atmosphere is going to be really rough. So I'm gonna throw these out, because we'll just count these as dead. Oh boy. There might still be a little bit of fuel left in the plumbing. So I'm gonna go check that too. But yeah, I hadn't anticipated the fact that because the rockets aren't uninsulated, there will be a threat like that. Now the cargo, as far as I'm concerned, is intact. Oh yeah, I know. So there's a tiny bit of fuel here. It's like not quite a lot to pose a... Oh, the thing is, the pipes left here are insulated only. So, they're not gonna heat up. Okay, hold on. Oh, Jesus. I know, it's a solar storm and I'm running out of oxygen to try to keep me cool. Alright, we're going inside. Screw this cooking our lungs nonsense. Game's like, yeah, your waste tank. It's like, I know. I was out in a solar storm, it sucked. Need an umbrella? Yeah. Need like a Faraday cage. Well, that's the wrong thing. I need solar shielding, let's say. Now, the other thing I was curious about was, would the solar storm in this giant windowed room affect it much? And it doesn't really seem to, which is good. So as far as the cargo, the cargo wasn't really damaged. It has 33% power. I don't think that there's like a... Did things break here? Like, I can't check for damage in the rocket. But once this solar storm is over, I can do that. Alright. I had mentioned wanting to get rid of the old H2 combustion system. So, start stripping out the H2 comm system. And I'm going to end up with like a lot of trash as a result. A lot of stuff. But, you know, maybe we'll repurpose it. This was the power console that controlled the system. Okay, you move over there. I probably shouldn't get rid of these wires until these get rewired, because they seem to be connected to my water filtration system. Although, I think I can run the wires better, smarter. And maybe I'll toss in my Meson chip in my glasses, just to make sure. And I'll try to make, what is that? An active vent for the coolant for... Okay, yeah, I don't need that anymore. That was, an active vent for the coolant to cool down the oxygen, or the water that we produced. That whole system is no longer needed. Alright. Now, these cables aren't needed anymore. Now, I don't yet have a recycler. Because it's really easy to get raw materials, I don't really feel the need to use the recycler. I think the time spent fussing with the recycled materials is going to be more effort and energy and lengthier than just, like, using virgin materials. Which is why I haven't employed a recycler, because I just don't think it's a time save. Especially not on Vulcan, where, like, ores are plentiful. Crossing two circuits? Well, yes, actually, that is true. I did cross circuits, but it doesn't really matter as long as it has power. This here is, let's call it 53. And this is, 12. So these pumps are now connected to the survival this network. This is 112. Actually, did this no, I isolated this entire... Well, actually... Does this even have power? No, okay, I unplugged it. Got it. So, these cables don't connect to anything now. They're unplugged from everything. So we'll plug them back in. It was on the 112 before. On the base, the regular base network. Confusing, I know. Okay, so that's fixed. From here... What is it? I thought it was wire cutters. Let's get rid of the water filter. It's a heavy one, so I don't really need to throw it out. We might repurpose it. And then this is just a standard filtration unit, which maybe we can repurpose as well. So, not to throw that out either. And yeah, like, my storage is getting full. I know. I don't think there's anything in these pipes, but I'll double check. There really shouldn't be, because I haven't run the system in a while, and I run it till it's dry. Oh, no, this isn't an exhaust. Oh, why is there stuff in this? This makes sense, because it's connected to a passive vent to the outside. But the other one doesn't really make sense that there's stuff in it. So I'll just delete it in sequential order so it doesn't leak or anything like that. Does solar power go like 10 times output in the solar storm? Not 10, like 2 maybe? I don't exactly know the numbers, but it's not like wind, an ash storm where it's like 100 times wind. It's something a lot more tame. Alright, there shouldn't be anything in this water tank, because this isn't actually our water storage anymore, and it's empty. Nothing in the pipes. This is nitrogen. This isn't getting stripped or touched. We don't need to be messing with the nitrogen. And the only thing we need to do is the exhaust for the nitrogen needs to be somewhere else, because if that becomes inside the base, I can't exhaust what's coming out of this filter into the base itself. That'd be a bad idea. I have to be very careful what I like click on with my wrench, because if I click the floor, I'm dead. That is by no means an exaggeration. I would die. All of the oxygen in the base would then mix with Vulcan volatiles and super explode. That's how easy it is to just instantly die. It's crazy. Which is one of the reasons why, like, a lot of people will put, like, liners or floor panels or whatever, so there's, like, you have to, like, remove 2 things to go fatally kaboomy, rather than just the one. Now, the other issue is we have a little bit of logic wall here, but what I could do is I can have, like, these 2 walls remain, whereas this wall and this window goes open to the rest of the room. Alright, and then this whole coolant can go bye-bye too. So, storm over? Yeah, the storm's over now. Good. Alright, let's see. What's in here? Some of the quote-unquote coolant. And I'll probably want to break it down from that pipe over there, so I'm not going to touch this anymore. As far as the waistline goes, I could probably reroute this waistline entirely, as it's no longer needed to waste dump the coolant for the water cooler. So we'll change that as well. Moving anything else beyond the project I'm working on right now is beyond the scope of what I'm working on, so I'm not doing anything besides setting up an ice crusher. FYI. So, the no backseating tag is up for that reason. Essentially, I'm not doing a complete overhaul. I'm just trying to make a room so that we can process the oxygen ice so that we can launch our Explorer. And anything and everything beyond that is superfluous. The other thing we'll need to do is to install flat walls backwards. So we'll need a flat wall in the crew quarter there, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So I'll need 2 more flat walls. And that's so that we can make space for all of this stuff and then build frames to push out the air. Alright, we'll do the flat wall in the crew quarter first, because I think the window faces inwards, so that shouldn't be a problem in that section. Yeah, it does. Well, yeah, okay, yeah. So we'll want a flat wall here. Am I aware about the 4th build state of iron and steel frame implemented a few updates ago? Yes, I am. I had mentioned that when it was updated. Oh, I ran out of flat walls. I needed one more than I miscounted. Because I want one here as well. And what Crafty Geek is referring to is you can install plastic on the floors to give them a kind of a finished look as the final step. I don't even think I have plastic sheets for that to demonstrate, but that's the concept. I will need 8 frames to fill in the space, and then a whole bunch of metal sheets to install on the floors and everything as well. Also, my alerts aren't working well. Some of the questions you guys have asked, like, aren't making noise for some reason. So if I missed your question, sorry about that. It was not alerting me properly. So, Darkwind, you asked, you know IC code is out of scope of the series, but it is an ideological issue? So part of it is IC code either... I'm not going to teach you MIPS, right? I'm not like a teacher for a programming language. I don't want to do that. It doesn't interest me. So IC code in the game uses a programming language called MIPS. It's something the game uses. It's a programming language that exists outside the game. And in order to use IC code, you can either be like copying and pasting, not really understanding, or you can learn MIPS and use it. But I don't want to teach MIPS, so I don't want to answer questions about like, why does your IC code work? Because like, I'm not teaching a coding language to play a game. That sounds insufferable to me. So it's that reason primarily. I mean, if you want, find like the MIPS equivalent of like Khan's Academy and have at it. Because that ain't my job, and that's not what I signed up for. So that's why I said no IC code. Thank you for tuning in to Stationeers Brutal Vulcan, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Radamat.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Radamat.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you in next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Stationeers.